The Unmarked Graves. Chapter 1. I'm an excavator operator. Over the years, I've heard plenty of stories from others in the trade about the strange things they've dug up on job sites. But nothing prepared me for what I found that day, urns seeping with blood. And not just one. The trouble started my first week on the crane development site. I noticed it during lunch. My shadow didn't match my movements. I'd lift my arm to eat, and the shadow would lag behind, just a heartbeat too slow. When I mentioned it to Marcus, the kid who shared my bunk, he squinted at the ground and shrugged. Heat shimmer, he said. Messes with your eyes. Maybe, but that night, I counted the dormitory doors in our hallway. 12. The next morning, there were 11. I counted twice. You're losing it, old man, Marcus said when I told him. He was 18, studying for his college entrance exam retakes between shifts. This place is just a dump. Nothing weird about it except the smell. He was right about the smell, something sweet and rotten underneath the usual construction stink of diesel and sweat. Raymond Duke, our other bunkmate, blamed it on a dead rat in the walls. Raymond was laid up with a leg injury, spending most of his time in bed, complaining about the rain making his bones ache. I tried to forget about the shadows and the doors. I had too much else to worry about. My wife was pregnant back home. We needed money for the baby. I couldn't afford to spook myself off this job. Then came the night I heard footsteps in the hallway. Heavy, deliberate steps on the metal stairs of our shipping container dormitory. I snapped my eyes open. Through the doorway, something white drifted past. The construction site floodlights cast just enough glow through the window. Raymond and Marcus were still asleep, snoring like chainsaws. Who had just been here? I got up and opened the door. Cold wind swept in, carrying away the stench of sweat and unwashed bodies. In the distance, near the excavation pit, 3 or 4 children were crouched on the ground, playing in the construction dirt. Hey, what are you kids doing out here in the middle of the night? Go home and get to bed, I shouted. One child, standing apart from the others, turned to look at me. In the dim light, the child's face was charred and rotting. One eyeball dangled halfway out of its socket. His mouth stretched impossibly wide, nearly to his ears. My legs went weak. I'd heard the stories. This place used to be a children's amusement park. Years ago, a fire had killed several children here. Local legend said those who died violent deaths couldn't move on. Their rage kept them bound to the place of their death. Behind me, urgent footsteps echoed on the stairs. The metal clanged with each impact. Something was coming toward me. I spun around. Cold wind hit my face. Nothing was there. But the stairwell. I counted the steps as I stumbled back toward my room. 14. There had been 12 when I'd walked down them that morning. Terrified, I threw myself into the dormitory and dove under my blanket. Sleep wouldn't come. I lay there until dawn finally broke. Chapter 2. The next morning. Cold and exhausted, I trudged to work. Other workers were clustered in groups. Voices low. Last night I got up to take a leak and I swear I saw a woman in white. A ghost. Get out of here. I saw a man sitting in the hallway, bent all wrong, eating a bread roll. I'm telling you, I heard someone on the roof, wailing. There was nobody up there. Their voices faded as they walked away. I told myself it must have been their ghost stories that gave me nightmares. Nothing real. I climbed into the excavator cab and got ready to work. I'd only made a few passes when the bucket hit something solid. A square black box emerged from the dirt, carved with strange patterns. I jumped down into the pit. Excitement building. Could it be some kind of artifact? I picked up the black box and brushed away the mud. When I turned it over, I saw a yellowed paper seal, the kind used in old burial rituals, stuck to the front. Something was partially hidden beneath it. A faded black and white photograph of a man stared back at me. I threw it away from me. It was a cremation urn. The box wobbled and tipped, spilling thick, mud-like fluid. Where it touched the yellow soil, the ground turned crimson, as if soaked in blood. I scrambled out of the pit and called Victor Crane, the developer who'd hired our crew. It took me 3 tries to get the words out coherently. Victor's response was infuriatingly calm. Just an urn. People dig up graves all the time in this business. Don't make such a fuss. I could hear mahjong tiles clicking in the background. "Just keep digging." He hung up. But my hands trembled on the controls. When the second urn emerged from the earth, I misjudged the force and split it in half. Black blood spread rapidly from the broken container. When the third urn emerged, I lost it. I slammed the controls to a stop and half fell, half climbed out of the cab. This demolition site used to be an apartment complex. There was no reason for cremation urns to be buried here. I called Victor again, telling him we'd found 3 identical urns, all with photographs of men. "Mr. Crane, 3 urns, all the same style, all with men's photos. We can't just keep digging blindly. If word gets out." Victor finally grasped the severity. He drove to the site immediately. With him came a middle-aged man in flowing robes, a feng shui master, apparently. He surveyed the area with narrowed eyes, his fingers moving in calculations. Then he shouted, "This is a 3-yang lone yin formation. You found 3 men's urns, the 4th must be a woman. Dig there." He pointed, and sure enough, a 4th urn emerged from that exact spot. "Whoever created this formation has cursed their own lifespan," the master intoned. "Mr. Crane, someone has deliberately targeted you." Victor's face went pale. "Master, is there a way to break it? The counter ritual is dangerous." The master seemed reluctant. Victor held up 8 fingers. "I'll pay this much." The master nodded, instructed workers to gather supplies, and set up a ritual in the center of the site. After the master left, I received a text message. "Cypress Road 44, tonight midnight, Chapter 3. That night, a gleaming brass basin sat by the roadside at Cypress Road 44. Inside it lay stacks of red $100 bills. "Nathan, you made it." The master appeared before me. I grinned nervously. "Sorry to keep you waiting." "Not at all. You did excellent work. Here's 30,000. He handed me a bulging bag. "If opportunities like this come up again, you know where to find me." The urns had been my doing. The master and I had staged the whole thing together. Our goal: extort money from Victor Crane. A month earlier, 2 men from my hometown, Ray Lawson and Garrett Stone, had died in falls at one of Victor's construction projects. The accidents were caused by substandard scaffolding. Victor had cut corners. But he'd covered up the truth and paid out only a fraction of what he owed the families. Without evidence, going to the police was useless. So when Victor started this new project, I saw my chance to con him and get the families what they deserved. I wired every cent of the scam money to Ray and Garrett's widows. But the moment I got back to the site, the security guard told me there'd been another incident. Workers crowded around a police cordon. In the center, officers collected evidence from around a metal drum. Long strands of hair dangled over its edge. A worker had noticed the soil looked dark and clumped with reddish-black chunks. He'd kept digging and found a barrel filled with cement. Through cracks in its surface, he could see dried blood mixed with a woman's hair. I stared at the rusted barrel, dread pooling in my stomach. The master called. Victor called me. "The woman in the barrel, was that your doing?" "It wasn't me, I swear." The line went dead. I tried calling back. Nothing. The call wouldn't connect. Chapter 4. To accommodate the police investigation, construction was halted. Days of rain kept us trapped indoors. I spent my time in the dormitory with Marcus and Raymond. Raymond lay on his cot, sighing. Lord have mercy. This rain's got my whole body aching worse than when Daddy used to whup me with a hickory switch. Who knows how long this shutdown gonna last? You've got body aches, I've got headaches. Feels like my skull's about to explode. Marcus rubbed his temples. This is terrible. I was counting on this year's wages to pay for prep school. Everyone had their burdens. As they vented, my thoughts drifted to my wife back home. She was pregnant. We needed money. Now that work had stopped, the income had stopped too. And if the police traced the $30,000 scam back to me, I stepped into the hallway to smoke. Through the thin walls, I could hear workers talking on the first floor. This site is cursed. First, the urns. Now, a body in a barrel. I found a bloody handprint on my mosquito net that appeared out of nowhere. Smell that? It's getting worse. Let's get out of here. I tried to focus on my cigarette, but something nagged at me. I counted the steps as I walked down the stairs. 16. There had been 14 last night, 12 the morning before. When I got to the first floor, I looked up. The dormitory building stretched impossibly high above me, 4 stories where there should have been 2. Chapter 5. The next day, Victor summoned the master back. After surveying the scene, the master announced that restless spirits haunted the grounds. He would investigate overnight before performing an exorcism. But that night, the master came to find me privately. I need you and your boys to back me up. After I perform the ritual, just tell everyone the ghosts are gone. Master, are there actually ghosts or not? Is this ritual real or fake? Look, just say there are no more ghosts. He pressed $2,000 into my hand. I stared at the money and agreed without thinking. Back in the dormitory, I lay awake in the darkness. Strange Raymond's thunderous snoring had gone silent. Marcus's notoriously foul foot odor had vanished. The room felt unnaturally still. Raymond's weak voice drifted through the darkness. I grabbed my phone and shone its light toward him. Raymond was kneeling on his bed, his body bent in 3 impossible places at the waist, at the chest, like a piece of paper folded back on itself. I turned to wake Marcus. His face was a ruin of blood and pulp. Brain matter oozed steadily from his fractured skull. "It hurts so much," Marcus rasped. "Why didn't anyone help us, Nate?" I screamed and threw myself at the door, fleeing into the night. The metal stairs rang with my desperate footsteps. Halfway down, a face appeared from behind the wall at the bottom of the stairs. Half a face, rotted almost beyond recognition, skin mixed with cement. In that split second, it seemed horribly familiar. I stumbled and fell. Just as I was about to hit the ground, the stairwell twisted around me. The walls folded in on themselves. The angles became impossible. I was falling through space that shouldn't exist, through doorways I hadn't opened. And I landed in a room. Chapter 6. The room was pitch black, reeking of decay. I fumbled for a light switch. Yellow light revealed my own dormitory, but it was completely silent. Raymond and Marcus were gone. The beds were empty. "Ray? Marcus?" I called. No answer. The air was freezing. I tried the door. Locked from the outside. I tried the windows. Welded shut. Sealed in. I tried calling the master. My phone showed full signal, but no calls would connect. I tried texting. The messages sat unsent. Panic clawed at me. Was the master trying to kill me? Was he afraid I'd reveal our scam to Victor? I attacked the door with everything I had. It held firm. The small television on the desk flickered to life on its own. A female anchor reported on the events at our construction site. 2 cement-filled barrels have been found at the site. The victims, a pregnant woman and an adult man. The pattern on the corner of the pregnant woman's maternity dress. I recognized that pattern. I had bought that dress for my wife. No. The male victim has been identified as an excavator operator at the construction site. Investigation has confirmed that he and the female victim were husband and wife. The screen showed a photograph. My photograph. Cause of death: asphyxiation. Police are currently conducting an autopsy. I looked down at my hands. My skin had turned gray. Hairline cracks ran across my forearms, like cement. I stumbled to the window and caught my reflection in the glass. A figure covered in cement stared back, the face half-rotted, barely recognizable. The face I had seen at the bottom of the stairs. My face. Chapter 7. Memory returned in fragments, like shattered glass being pieced back together. Heat. Unbearable heat. Last summer, I was in the excavator pit. The concrete mixer had been running all day, filling the foundation. My head was pounding heat stroke. I knew. But Victor had refused to let me take a break. "We're behind schedule," he'd said. "Keep working." The world tilted. I fell. Wet concrete embraced me. Warm at first, then hardening around my limbs. I tried to call out, but my mouth filled with gray sludge. Through my one exposed eye, I saw workers gathering at the edge of the pit. Someone threw a rope, but I couldn't move, and no one climbed down to help. Then, Victor arrived. He glanced at me once, just once the way you'd look at a piece of broken equipment. "Don't bother," he said. "Just bury him. He's still alive." someone shouted. His eye is blinking. Alive? Even if we dig him out, I'd have to pay for his care for life. That's a fortune. If he's dead, I only pay a one-time settlement. Let's go. I felt the concrete harden around me. Each breath came harder until there were no more breaths to take. The memory shifted. 3 months after my death, 2 men arrived at the site, Raymond Lawson and Garrett Stone. Men from my hometown, asking questions about me. I watched from the shadows as they worked. I tried to warn them. I screamed, but they couldn't hear me. I touched their shoulders, but my hands passed through. I watched as Victor ordered the scaffolding sabotaged. Raymond fell first. His body bent in 3 places when he hit the ground. Garrett's skull split open. Their deaths were my fault. If they hadn't come looking for me, the memory shifted again. My wife arrived at the site gates, belly swollen with pregnancy, demanding answers. Where is my husband? Where is Nathan Mercer? The security guard blocked her way. No visitors allowed. I'm not leaving until someone tells me what happened to him. Day after day, she stood at that gate. The police took her report, but Victor had paid everyone off. The investigation went nowhere. Someone suggested she contact journalists, make noise, draw attention. I was there, invisible, when Victor made the phone call. I'm not afraid of her making a scene, he said. But reporters can smell blood. Pick a night. Handle her. I tried to stop them. I threw myself at Victor, at his men. But my hands passed through their bodies like smoke. I watched, helpless, as they beat her to death. I watched as they stuffed her body and our baby into a barrel. I watched as they covered her with cement. Chapter 8. Something broke in me after that night. My spirit remained at the construction site. I couldn't leave. My hatred was too strong, my obsession too deep. I tormented Victor. I made his car tires blow out. I put dead rats in his food. I caused accident after accident. The ghosts the workers encountered, the shadows, the footsteps, the wailing, most of that was me. But Victor was protected. He'd hired the spiritualist, a real one, it turned out, not the con man I'd taken him for. The spiritualist sensed my presence and called me out, claiming he wanted to help me get justice. I believed him. The moment I appeared, paper talismans erupted from the ground, trapping me. Red threads shot from a golden bell, glowing with light, binding me tight. Victor Crane, you'll die for this. I gathered every ounce of my strength and hurled myself at him. Wind rose from nowhere. The formation began to break. The spiritualist bit his own finger, smearing blood on the bell. The threads tightened. My strength drained away. I collapsed, helpless. His malevolent energy is suppressed, the spiritualist told Victor. He can't cause harm for now. But Victor wanted me destroyed completely, no loose ends. The spiritualist refused. Such an act would bring cosmic retribution. Instead, he offered something else. He could suppress my memories, make me forget I was dead, make me believe I was still a living worker on this site. And so I was, living in a dormitory that didn't exist, on a floor that wasn't there, sharing a room with the ghosts of Raymond and Garrett men who had been killed because of me, but who I no longer recognized. The money I thought I'd earned from the scam, spirit money offerings burned for the dead. The urns I thought I'd buried to frighten Victor, the spiritualist's doing, to extract more money from him. I had been dead for months. I just didn't know it. Chapter 9. The spiritualist overreached. He had the barrels containing my wife and me dug up and reburied at the site, planning another elaborate con. But before he could spring his trap, a worker accidentally uncovered them. The police found the bodies. DNA confirmed our identities. Everything unraveled from there. Now, on the day of Victor's public trial, I stand at my own grave. The whole village has gathered. My mother weeps before my headstone. My son, the 4 of you have been avenged. You can rest in peace now. Beside me, Raymond and Garrett stand in silence. My wife holds our child, a small, pale infant who never drew a single breath in the living world. I want to go to my mother, to hold her, but I know I can't. Victor Crane has been sentenced to death. The spiritualist received life in prison. Justice has been served as much as it can be. For the dead, the incense smoke curls upward in the dawn light. And by strange coincidence, the excavator that unearthed our barrels was the same one I had bought and operated in life. There is meaning in the universe, perhaps. My mother places one final stick of incense before my headstone. The smoke rises, catches the first light of morning. She turns and walks away, alone. The end.